Welcome to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds crazy, almost like something out of a movie, but today we're diving into a coin that looks so ordinary, so harmless, that most people would spend it without a second thought, yet under the right conditions, it has been whispered about in collector circles as a piece worth an unbelievable $70 million. Yes, you heard that right, 70 million, and the shocking part is, this coin isn't ancient, it's not gold, and it's not locked behind museum glass. It's a 2014 5-cent coin, a Jefferson nickel that could still be hiding in circulation right now, possibly even in your own pocket change. Now before you brush this off, let's break it down because this is where things get wild. The highest rumored collector valuation tied to a rare variation of the 2014 Jefferson nickel has climbed as high as $70 million in private discussions among elite collectors, and while that number sounds unreal, it's tied to a combination of minting anomalies, extreme rarity, and one-of-a-kind characteristics that transform a 5-cent coin into a life-changing treasure, and trust me, you'll want to stick till the end because the next coin we're going to talk about makes even this one look tame, and you won't believe how it enters circulation. But first, let's understand why this 2014 nickel has collectors losing their minds. The Philadelphia Mint in 2014 produced millions upon millions of Jefferson nickels, all stamped with the familiar image of Thomas Jefferson on the front and Monticello on the reverse. Nothing unusual at first glance, just another year in a long-running design series that dates back to 1938, but here's where things start to shift. Within that massive production run, a microscopic number of coins are believed to have been struck under highly unusual conditions, including off-metal strikes, die misalignments, and what some experts describe as ghost planchet errors, where the coin is struck on a planchet not intended for nickels at all, and that's where the magic happens, because when a nickel is struck on a rare or experimental metal composition, its value can skyrocket beyond imagination, and in the case of the legendary 2014 error nickel, collectors believe a handful, possibly just one, was struck on a prototype alloy never meant to leave the testing phase. Imagine a coin that looks like a nickel but has a completely different metallic fingerprint, something the mint never officially released, something that slipped through quality control unnoticed, and suddenly you're not just holding currency, you're holding a minting mistake so rare that it becomes a historical artifact, and that's exactly why collectors chase coins like this with obsession-level intensity. Because rarity plus mystery equals insane value. Now picture this, a regular person sorting through a jar of coins, maybe after years of ignoring it, casually flipping through nickels, and then one coin feels slightly different, maybe it has an unusual shine, maybe it weighs just a fraction more or less than expected, maybe the strike looks just a bit off. Most people would ignore it, but someone who knows what to look for could be staring at a $70 million discovery. And that's the kind of story that fuels the coin collecting world. Because it happens more often than people think, not always at this level, but enough to keep the dream alive. Auction houses and private collectors have long been known to keep quiet about certain transactions, especially when it comes to experimental or controversial pieces, and that's why coins like this carry a sort of mythological aura around them. You won't always find them listed publicly, you won't always see headlines about them, but behind closed doors, deals are made that would shock the average person. And the 2014 5-cent coin sits right in that shadowy space between known reality and collector legend, and that's exactly what makes it so fascinating. But let's get practical for a second. How would you even identify something like this? First, you need to examine the weight and composition. A standard nickel weighs 5 grams, so anything noticeably different should raise an eyebrow. Next, look closely at the strike quality. Are the details unusually sharp or oddly weak in certain areas? Then there's the color. Does it look slightly off compared to a normal nickel, maybe a different tone or luster? And finally, errors in alignment, doubling, or unusual markings can all hint that you're not dealing with an ordinary coin. And while not every odd-looking nickel is worth millions, it only takes one to change your entire life. And here's the part most people miss. These coins don't announce themselves, they blend in, they hide in plain sight, they pass through cash registers, vending machines, and pockets every single day, which means the opportunity is real. It's not locked away, it's circulating, waiting for someone observant enough to notice it, and that someone could literally be you. Now keep this in mind as we go deeper into this journey, because the next coin we're about to explore has an even more unbelievable backstory, one that involves a different mint, a different year, and a twist that makes collectors go absolutely crazy. And trust me, if you thought a $70 million nickel was insane, what's coming next will make you question every coin you've ever spent without looking twice. So don't go anywhere, because this story is just getting started, and the next coin might be even closer to you than you think. Next, 2013 D. Jefferson nickel. Have you ever checked your coins carefully? One of them could be hiding $80 million in plain sight, and I'm not exaggerating, because the 2013 D 5-cent coin is one of those pieces that looks completely ordinary, the kind of coin you toss on a table without thinking twice, yet under the surface it carries one of the most shocking and mysterious value stories in modern coin collecting history. And here's where it gets serious. Elite collectors and private dealers have placed speculative valuations as high as $80 million on a unique variation of this coin, not because it's old, not because it's made of gold, but because of a combination of ultra-rare minting errors and what some insiders believe to be an undocumented experimental strike that somehow escaped the Denver Mint. And just like the previous coin, this one could still be out there, unnoticed, sitting in someone's drawer, jar, or wallet right now. And before we go any deeper, keep your attention locked, because by the end of this, you'll realize why some people literally spend hours checking every single nickel they come across, and why missing one tiny detail could mean losing a once-in-a-lifetime fortune. Now let's rewind to 2013 at the Denver Mint, where millions of Jefferson nickels were produced with the D Mint mark, all following the standard design featuring Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse. Everything seemed routine, just another year in circulation, but behind the scenes, something unusual was happening during the minting process. Reports and collector theories suggest that a very small number of planchets, the blank metal discs used to strike coins, may have been mixed from a test batch or incorrectly sourced materials, and when those planchets were struck with the nickel design, they created coins that technically shouldn't exist. And that's where things get wild, because when a coin exists outside official records, it becomes a collector's dream and a historian's puzzle at the same time. Imagine holding a coin that the mint never acknowledged, a piece that slipped through quality control and entered circulation as if it were completely normal, yet under proper analysis reveals a composition or structural anomaly that sets it apart from every other coin of its kind. That's exactly the kind of scenario tied to the legendary 2013 D-era nickel. And that's why its value has reached such mind-blowing levels in private collector conversations, because rarity alone isn't enough, it's the story, the mystery, and the near impossibility of its existence that drives the price into the stratosphere. And here's something most people don't realize: coins like this don't look flashy, they don't sparkle like gold or stand out like commemorative pieces, they hide in plain sight, often dismissed as pocket change, which means the person who finds one isn't necessarily lucky, they're observant, they're patient, they're someone who decided to look closer when everyone else didn't. And that's the difference between spending 5 cents and discovering $80 million. Let's talk about the kinds of errors that could push a coin to this level, because not all mistakes are created equal. We're talking about off-metal strikes where the coin is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or even another country, wrong alloy mixtures that change the coin's weight and magnetic properties, extreme double dies that create ghost-like overlapping images, and misaligned dies that shift the entire design off-center in a dramatic way. Now combine one or more of these with a unique, undocumented minting condition, and you've got a coin that collectors would fight over in closed-door auctions. There are even stories circulating among experienced numismatists about a 2013 D nickel that exhibited an unusual coloration and density, something that didn't match any known standard composition, and while no public auction record confirms its sale, whispers suggest it changed hands privately for a staggering sum, reinforcing the idea that the real action in coin collecting doesn't always happen in the spotlight. Sometimes it happens quietly, between people who know exactly what they're holding. So how do you protect yourself from missing something like this? It starts with awareness, knowing that even modern coins can carry extraordinary value. Then comes inspection, checking weight, color, strike quality, and any irregularities, and finally, verification. Because if you ever suspect you found something unusual, getting it authenticated by a professional grading service could be the step that turns curiosity into life-changing reality. And here's the truth: most people will never check their coins, they'll keep spending them, ignoring them, letting opportunities slip right through their fingers, but the few who pay attention, the few who understand that even a 2013 nickel can carry unimaginable value, those are the ones who rewrite their story overnight. And that's why this coin matters, not just because of its rumored $80 million value, but because it proves that treasure doesn't always look like treasure. Now as we close this chapter, think about everything we've uncovered, from a $70 million 2014 P nickel to an $80 million 2013 D mystery coin, both modern, both circulating, both hiding in plain sight, and it raises one final question: how many more are out there, waiting to be found, and more importantly, will you be the one to find them before someone else does?